James has been ecstatic to share that one last look for now of the Mara, and we are still pretty much here, sitting tight, waiting to move. Now, I think I'm now going to start sending more good vibes onto hers to see if perhaps she will decide to get up, because it is getting a bit long now. I think we've been on the patience game for about 2 hours or so. 1 hour? Yeah, 1 hour and a half. And I am not the most patient person, but when it comes to cats, I think that's probably the best teaching we can get from leopards and lions. If you want to see amazing things, you've got to be willing to spend a long time with them. Laughing, I was saying to Tristan before we departed from game drive, because he was asking me, do you want to follow up on Tamba? Do you want to do something else? Do you want to go follow up on Xidulu? And I can be quite stubborn, so I said to him that I was going to come back to Xidulu because I was going to find her now that I got the report right, because this was not on. And then he started making fun of me and telling me that, you know, it's the way that I talk to the leopards, that I've got to treat them nicely, and I've got to sugarcoat what I say to them the same way that he does when he speaks to them. I think he might have lost his mind already, but it clearly works for him. So I tried it this. There she is. I think this worked out a little bit better. So maybe that's the secret of the leopard whisperer, the way he actually whispers to the leopards and tells them that they're pretty. On that note, let's go over to Tristan and find out what he's sugarcoating now.
Well, I'm trying to get Tamba to come out. I suppose I haven't tried that hard with Tamba just yet, because I was on a sneaky mission to go and check around for Tingana, just because, well, I suppose secretly I'm a little concerned for the fella. So I'm just going out and just trying to see if I could find him up near Buffelshoek Dam, but very quiet up there. There's not much happening at all. Every sort of semblance of a track has been absolutely washed away completely. Buffelshoek Dam doesn't look, I mean, it is fuller, but it's not excessively full. So it's not like there's a real serious amount of food that is, water that has gone into there. So I was hoping Tingana would be just lounging on the dam wall, but alas, no sign of him anywhere there. So now I'm actually really concentrating on going towards Tamba. Now, as for me sugarcoating leopards, that's not quite what I was saying. What I was saying and what I was mentioning was that you have to be nice to the leopards when you go out. You have to have the positive attitude, and you have to be nice to them, and you have to kind of go there and you have to say, leopard, please come out for me, and then the leopards will come out. That's always what my theory is if you go with the right mindset and you think about it strongly enough and you really tell yourself you're going to find a leopard, then most of the time, it doesn't always work, but most of the time, you get some good luck on your side and you find some sort of sign of them, and even the leopard itself. So hopefully it's going to work with Tamba now, because now I'm going to concentrate on Tamba. I was being a bit naughty and not giving him my full undivided attention, so now I'm going to do so, and hopefully, like I say, I'll bump into him somewhere. As for tracking him, it's going to be near impossible on these roads at the moment. They literally are like concrete. I was having a look just now where some big heavy set animals like waterbuck were walking over the road, and literally their tracks are almost non-existent, and that is an animal with a hard. Now just imagine a small-ish young male leopard with a soft pad, how little he's going to indent on a road like that. So it's going to be really tough to find his tracks. So it's more going to be about just checking the areas that I know he normally likes to go, but at the moment, because of his nature and because he's in a situation where he's kind of moving around and shifting and changing what he does, he doesn't really have a set sort of area that he likes to sit in. Now, what happened here? You can see there's a major scuff mark all in front of me. So I'm just having a little look. It looks like, if I look on the left-hand side, there's tracks for what look like impalas. And I wonder if maybe two impalas were just having a little sparring match there, and they've churned up the road a little bit. It's difficult to see from this angle, but I just wanted to show you before I drove there and couldn't see it anymore. But it looks like impalas maybe having a little rutting match, or not a rutting match, a little training match should we call it, for themselves. Let's just double check. Interesting. Impalas that have been scuffling about, so probably two young boys that were just having a bit of a game. The track is not very big, but it is definitely an impala footprint that is made of that. So nice to see. That's the one nice thing about rain, is that you get these really interesting tracks that come out where animals have dug or have been fighting or something like that, where it can churn up the kind of soil and you can get something a little difficult. Rebecca, you want what is good about the rain? Okay, Rebecca. Point number 1 is that there is water in our area, which therefore means that hopefully we'll have water through the winter, which is always good because that means that we'll actually see some animals, because if it goes completely dry, we're going to have a serious problem here. Number 2 is rain promotes growth of vegetation, vital to our ecosystem and vital to the animals that need to feed off all of this, and so it brings in prey animals, which then brings in predators and so forth. So it is a vital part of the whole situation, and we really do need rain in order to kind of survive out here. So it's very, very important from a point of view of food. What else can we talk about with rain? It cleans everything off. I do enjoy the rain when it's been really hot and dusty for long periods of time. It kind of just washes everything and it spruces everything up, and you end up with a situation where it feels clean again, and it feels like an injection of into the bush and a bit of energy, which is always nice. 4 is that you get all the little things. So in winter it becomes a lot harder to focus on insects, frogs, butterflies, I suppose, are part of insects, but flowers, those things become very difficult to find in the winter months. And so summer you get to go into a much sort of broader spectrum of animals and organisms, and it's a far more sort of, not entertaining, but far more engaging as a guide to have a number of different things to look at. Animals themselves. Now I know we focus on animals a lot, but you get a number of birds that migrate in, you get a number of insects that come out, and I love the insects. I love kind of looking around and seeing them. I'm not particularly good at identifying all of the insects. I mean, I try my best, but it's a long way to go, and an insect world is such a diverse one that it is quite tough to know all the moths and butterflies and insects and beetles and things that we get out here. But certainly interests me, and obviously frogs as well, and this year has been really tough from that point of view. We've had very few frogs, very few insects. It's been really quite sort of strange actually driving around a number of these areas and not seeing any of those things, and in fact actually being on walks. And I spoke to Steph about this the other day, as we were discussing how difficult it's been on the walks to actually find things. You know, normally at this time of the year we would walk and just turn a leaf over and there would be, you know, a insect of some sort, whereas this year it's been a lot harder to find those insects around. So hopefully a bit of rain like this will bring everybody else out and we'll get a situation where they'll be around. And number 5, okay, Rebecca, so there we go. Bex is saying that point number 5 has to be, and will always be, that it is better to dance in the rain. Bex, I didn't see you dancing in the rain yesterday. Where were you? We had rain, we had it all, and no sign of Rebecca. Were you dancing in the rain, Rebecca? She says she was there dancing in the rain. Don't believe her. Senzo, did you see her? She was putting on the covers. That's not dancing, though. We need to see dancing in the rain, and next time there has to be a camera nearby, because it's not just us as presenters not just presenters that are going to make a fool of themselves. And apparently Rebecca says even though she wasn't dancing properly in the rain, her muscles were dancing in helping us put on the roof. Do you guys see what we have to deal with every day? It is entertaining, I must be honest, and I wouldn't have it any other way, and having Bex talking to us in our ear is always an entertaining drive, so I thoroughly enjoy having Bex on the other side, which is good. Right, now I'm actually going to focus on what I'm doing and stop kind of yabbering on, and I'm going to send Ali so you can see an animal and not just my face as I drive around.
I feel like looking for Tumba for too much is actually starting to make Tristan go a little bit crazy. But I would love to see him dancing in the rain, though. That's one side that I've never, ever had. So bring it on, Tristan. I think we can all expect you to dance in the rain. That will be quite interesting. But yes, we are still looking at the Ingrid Dam female, which has not really moved all that much. But maybe we can try and have 5... Why it's nice to stick around when leopards are sleeping. What do you think, Bex? Should we try and attempt that? Maybe we should. Maybe we should just leave it for everyone to complete. I reckon enduring and building up patience would probably be the first point. Second point, what would you say it'd be? The opportunity of it waking up? The opportunity of it waking up and eating something? The opportunity to see all the trees that are around the leopard for it to sleep because you've got nothing else to look at?
To study its fluffiness.
The opportunity to study its fluffiness. I like that one. That's a very good one. Yeah. To imprint on the spot pattern. I feel like this should be Tristan's conversation. But they are quite fluffy, although their hair is a little bit rough, and there you go. There we have some spots. So you see, those ones not quite rosettes, because they're all full and colored in the inside. Very, very dark and black, unlike up there, as BM is showing everyone. Yaha! Got an itch there. Are the ticks biting you? Will the ticks finally get you to move? Yawning, yes! Oh, no, you don't look that awake just yet. Now, this is a very tense moment in my heart, as I am really, really hoping. Okay, double yawn. That's also good. You see all her very powerful teeth in there. Okay, we've got all the potential good signs of an animal that wants to get a little bit more active. Oh, it's tough to call it because she's yawned so many times and then gone back to sleep that I don't want to get excited and then have her flop down on the side again. And just by looking at her eyes and her face, I don't think she's that awake just yet. Maybe getting there. Nice pretty tongue. What you doing? Child of the universe, you're wondering if leopard's coat is soft to the touch. Well, I don't find them. I actually find them quite coarse and they're actually not that nice. So you imagine such a gigantic fluffy thing, but they're not nice to touch. And the only reason why I've touched a leopard before is because when I used to work at our wildlife rehabilitation center, we got called into a farm, and the guy or the owner of the farm, pretty much, at least he was nice enough to give us the option to come and try to get this leopard that was killing our out of farm. Or he would go and shoot it. So luckily we managed to set up a trap and then move it into the rehabilitation center, and then obviously all in line with the Department of Environmental Affairs and so on. And then we managed to find a new home for the leopard. But obviously when the leopard gets inside of the cage, it's not a happy animal. And then to be able to transport it and minimize the stress, then you dart it with a sedative so that to try and impact on it the least possible. So that was the time that I got to touch a leopard. Like I said, not that fluffy and not that soft, but I would imagine to live in this environment, they cannot really afford third yawn. Come on. Cannot really afford to be that soft. Although there are still parts that are softer. We imagine behind the ears it's quite soft. That's why the ticks like it there. You scratch them out, girl. Now, normally when they start yawning a few times, it tends to push a little bit more oxygen into the system, sort of like to try and start awakening a little bit. So I'm hoping that this will be a good indication of the might want to start moving. Although, as we said, she's played me on this game before and I've always lost. So here's to hoping. No, well, I think at least she's had her head up for, 5 minutes? Getting there. We're getting there. I think this is looking promising. Assessing everything that's around her. We're getting there. Shame, you're still very hot in there. You're panting quite a lot, just moving like that. Beautiful, beautiful, clean teeth. You're looking nice, I must say. She is quite big. Like, she looks quite powerful. Scratchy, scratchy. Right, if you guys have got any questions or any comments that you would like to send through, remember you can use the hashtag Safari Live or send us the question using the YouTube chat. We'd love to hear from everyone, and as Brent Leo Smith would like to say, this is 100% live. So if you guys want to ask us any questions, please feel free to do it. Scratches her head. Paula, you're wondering if yawning doesn't actually mean that you're tired. Yes, it can mean that for us humans, but however, in the cats, and that's actually a good question as to why it works differently or what's the actual more detailed scientific version of it. But normally with cats and with lions and leopards, as soon as they start yawning, normally they go into a bout of grooming, and then after that they get a little bit active. So we've had her yawning for a little bit, just getting a little bit more active. Now she's starting to groom her paws, which is a very good indication, or it's at least gives it a bit of more hope that she's going to get up and then start moving and potentially go back to where she came from. That would be quite interesting. I wonder if perhaps when we get tired, we stop absorbing as much oxygen as what we normally do. I would have to actually go and research that more in detail from a biological perspective. Now, using her tongue out. Now, her tongue also to the touch is very similar to the one of a domestic dog or a domestic cat. It's very rough, and it almost acts as a comb. So when she's licking herself, she's getting rid of all the little things that might be in there, little pieces of grit, perhaps even some of the blood that was there. And then you see she's licking just exactly like a normal house cat. So she's licking that part, and then she pretty much uses her paw that's now being cleaned to try and rub anything else that might be either on her eyes or on her nose, her face, and just in general, all around those areas where her tongue cannot reach. I love it when cats put their paws like that. They look so sweet. Now, wonder what's got your attention over there. We've got some stretching, some yoga going on, trying to get the belly clean. I'm sure there is going to be a lot of little pieces of soil in there. She's been lying there the whole day, and mostly on her side. So I'm sure there are little pieces that are annoying to get rid of. I wonder what you're looking at. Nope, nothing. Just scratching. I really hope you do get that tick, because it seems to be annoying you quite a bit. Now, perhaps she scratched it there, and then she got it, and now she's taking it out. Getting rid of all the parasites. Nope, that tick is feisty. Dale, you're wondering if, because it's been raining, if cats would have to groom more. I reckon they would have to, not because of the rain itself, but because obviously it loosens it. The rain causes a bit of the soil to loosen up. There are more things that can attach themselves, yes, to the animal, so they'll have to groom more just to make themselves clean, or to keep in a status that they would like. Oh, I called it too soon. I that she stood up. Okay, I'm going to try and park where we were before, just to see if we can get a little bit of a better view of her, because it was actually, well, now she's facing in that direction. So I'm going to turn on the car and reposition. But while I do that, let's go back to Tristan, who is bumbling about in the bush.
It's exactly what I'm doing, actually. I am in the bush, and I'm trying to see if I can find little Tumba. This is where I left him roughly. This is where all the impalas were, and they were kind of standing, and he was on the other side watching in this direction. So I'm just trying to see if maybe, just maybe, little Tumba found himself a meal somewhere here and has just tucked himself in a thicket, and I just can't find him just yet. So just having a slow and steady scan. Where we last saw him is straight across from me now on that little pathway that goes up and forward. And so he could be theoretically here. The only thing is if I remember how he was walking this morning, the chances of us finding him in the same spot is almost zero, unless he got lucky with the meal. If he got lucky with the meal, then maybe, but otherwise I think we're going to have a situation where he's pretty much going to be moving all day long. Let's see though, but he was facing down, so I don't think he would have gone up. Let's just do one more kind of look around here. This is complete thumb sucking that I'm doing. I don't have actually concrete evidence to suggest that this is where he'll be. He was on top here when I left him this morning, so he was the last person with him. And so this is just an absolute complete, like I say, thumb suck, hoping for the best. Maybe we get lucky, maybe something comes out, because I cannot see a track anywhere. I've tried. The other problem that we have is that baboons have walked all over the place here, which means if baboons have been around, the likelihood of him sticking around is probably quite slim. On top of that, their track in hard soil, quite similar to a leopard, funnily enough. I know it sounds really strange, but it's true. And so, who knows? But in the back of my mind, I keep thinking that maybe, just maybe, he's gone back towards quarantine, given that he knows that there's a meal there. And in the last 4 days, we've seen him twice on quarantine, and there's been lots of tracks of male leopard around quarantine. So I don't know if he's using that as a place to try and stalk and hunt. So it might be worth just checking back towards there as well. Come on, little Tumba, put your head up. That's all I need, is just a little ear flick or a tail wag or something. Maybe even an alarm call. An alarm call would be quite nice. That would certainly help. Lakeisha, you're wondering why this area is so popular with leopard. Well, the simple reason for it is that it's the perfect terrain for a leopard. So you've got undulating drainage riverbed sections which have perfect cover for a leopard, perfect place to have den sites, and house the prey that they like to hunt. So they like to hunt bushbuck and nyala and these kind of things. So it's a perfect place in that regard. Secondly, they have a situation where you've got a very good quality sort of grazing and food area. It's thick, it's dense, which means there's a lot of food for a number of different prey animals, which means it supports a high number of prey as well. I think that's pretty much most of it, is that it's ideal habitat. There is a lot of prey animals in this section, and so for a leopard, that's all they need, is they need the right type of habitat and the right type of food, and there's a good supply of that food, and they'll be fine. What interests me though with the leopards here in the Sabi Sands is that they have a lot of competition from a number of other predators. It's not like the Sabi Sands is not predator rich from a hyena, lion, wild dog point of view. There are a number of those individuals around here as well, and so it's interesting to me that so sort of successful in this area, yet in other sections where there's also a high number of predators, they struggle a little bit. I wonder if it's due to the fact that maybe in those sections where they struggle, it's a situation where the habitat is really not good, and that's why we don't see them. So this is the exact spot I left him, right here on my right hand side, lying exactly right over there at that stick. So this is where he was last seen, facing where we've just come from, and not really much other sign that he's been around. In fact, right here where I lay, I can just faintly make out a track that is here, but otherwise it's almost impossible. And I'll show you actually which track I'm talking about, because if you didn't know where it is, you would have absolutely no idea. And this is why I was saying to you earlier that it has become increasingly difficult to actually see where leopards have walked. So Sens, I don't know if you're going to be able to get this for me. Can you get this track over here or not? Is that too close? Too close? Okay, I'll try and find one that's a little bit. So here's one that we can show you. So over here, I'm going to do a circle around it because you probably won't be able to see it, but there is a toe, there's a toe, there's a toe, there's a toe, and then this is the back of the pad. So what's that? Leopard is about to climb the tree. Is that what you're saying, Sen? So that's what we're dealing with, and that's the kind of tracks that we're trying to follow and trying to sort of see, and it can just show you exactly how difficult it is in this area at the moment for tracking. So we'll try and see what we can do. It looks as though and into the drainage line, so we'll just have a little look and see what we can find. Now, while I've been kind of sitting here, I see that there are some people that are busy watching me at the moment as well, which is the little dwarf mongoose on top. Right, now I'm going to send you back to Ali because I believe the leopard is about to climb the tree, so let's do that before I show you what is being watching me.
Right, so she has gotten up. Go, maybe we just... No, don't climb the tree the other way. Go this way. Yes! Amazing. Perfect. definitely worth all of our patience and all this waiting. Even though it seems like a headless leopard for now. There we go. Stunning. How is that for a perfect afternoon with a cat? I think we just hit the pot of gold with you. Incredible. And on a marula tree. Yes. I'm very happy now that we waited as long as we waited, because this is definitely a rewarding sight. You have gone from lying down to lying down the whole day. From the tree to the hare to the mound to the tree again. Now you can see the scrub hare is there on the left hand side, and I would assume that she's going to start feeding off of it quite soon. So if you find that this is going to be perhaps a little too much for you, we do encourage you to perhaps look away or go and make a cup of tea, perhaps pour yourself a little bit of apple juice. What a stunning setting. Just with the dark sky in the background, and as the sun's starting to set and the colors starting to drift a little bit for now, this is beautiful. This really, really is a precious sight. You're looking very regal there on your perch. Well, do you say it was effortless for her to climb up the tree? I think so too. It's almost like, oh, I do this every day. Let go, pop, 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 here I am. Just proves that how much climbing trees is a part of their life. When we see a lion, or if we were to see a lion climbing the tree, I reckon it wouldn't be as smooth and as effortless. They're a little bit too heavy, and it's not ideal. Now, I am hoping that she's going to turn her head around us for a little while, but there are cars coming, obviously, onto the main road that would like to see her. So I think she's just a little bit curious as to what's going on. But luckily, we've got the advantage of being able to go into both sides, and I think good enough to us. So we're going to stick around here, and hopefully she'll move around and then just show us her face again, so we can get a nice, beautiful screenshot of her on top of the marula tree. I'm sure it's a lot cooler up there as well. Ah, beautiful. Doesn't get any more leopardy than this, I should say. Leopard on a tree, feet dangling, marula. What a perfect setting. I love it when things work out. And I'm surprised she chose actually such an exposed branch compared to where she was this morning. First Lady, you're wondering if perhaps Tamba's establishing his territory in the absence of Tingana. Well, he's definitely looking for an area where to stay, but normally when male leopards are young, they become nomadic for a little while until they manage to succeed and stay in a particular area. Now, I think the fact that Tingana hasn't been around could also be the reason why he's pushing a little bit further into Djuma, which he hasn't been, but he's also been going into some of the neighboring properties, and he's been going further and further away. And I think he's going to try and stay in an area where he feels that, thank you for lying with your head this side. And I think he's going to try and stay he's going to try and stay clear of trouble, clear of any possible male leopard around. But I think the fact that that Tingana hasn't been there has played an important role. I for sure hope that he's going to try him and Hosanna. I don't want them to go anywhere. I want them to stick around this area. Now, I don't know if it'll be possible. Leopard dynamics are ever changing, but a girl can dream. And certainly one can dream on top of a tree by the looks of it. You are so hot, aren't you? She's not particularly hungry. She knows that she can get to her kill whenever she's feeling like it, and then she's gonna... I wonder if perhaps she wasn't actually getting a little bit too hot where she was earlier, because it seems like her breathing has slowed down. There's a scrub here, almost dangling, you see, so it looks almost like part of the tree. Now, she isn't breathing as quickly as she was before, so I think the wind is helping her all the way up in that marula branch that she's in. But if the clouds carry on settling in, I'm not too sure it's going to be the best place for her to be when the rain comes. She'll get quite wet. Maximus, you're wondering if leopards ever eat any plant matter. Well, they can, just like normal house cats do, and it's believed that they do it perhaps out of necessity, in the terms that perhaps they're missing some sort of bacteria or enzyme that will that they can only get through feeding of plant materials. I think you won't see them actually eating flowers or trees or anything, sometimes just to purge themselves, as we see the cats doing. But the plant material that they have access to, or the one that you would see them eating every now and again, it's plant material, which is what you would find inside of the stomach of some of the herbivore species, particularly of the antelope that we get in this area. So they might feed off of that for a little while. Like I said, if their system needs certain bacteria or gut bacteria that they might be lacking for whatever reason. But no, they mainly carnivores and feed on meat. You are loving it, aren't you? I know, I am too. Goldie, you happy? Yep. We're all quite happy right now. Paws dangling. Not a bad Saturday afternoon. Not bad at all. And I think, okay, I'll take it that we couldn't find her this morning, because it's certainly been made up right now just to be able to see her up there. And I must say, one of my favorite things is just seeing leopards with all four paws hanging on the branches of the tree. I've tried to lie like that before, just to see how it would feel. I'm not that comfortable, so the fact that they love it always makes me laugh. Amy, you're wondering if leopards still climb trees when they're heavily pregnant. Well, yes, they can. Sometimes it becomes a little bit more of a problem, perhaps not as effortless as it can normally be, but yes, definitely. And even the little ones, from a very young age, they'll start trying their luck in climbing trees and stumps and so on to develop the skills that they need to then be able to go all the way up the tree. She is very puzzled about, I'm sure, all the people just below her. Well, not just below her, but in the distance, further down from where she is. Such a curious cat. Oh, there we go. Oh, are you being lazy now? Blue, you're wondering what the normal body temperature of a is. I'm actually not too sure. I would imagine it's something around 36 degrees Celsius like humans, but I've actually got no clue. I cannot say for certain. I would imagine that is. I think it might be a little lower, but I will have to double check and let you know. Actually not quite sure. An interesting question. Gotta go and research a lot of biological things. Seems like Tristan hasn't been able to find his leopard, which we're feeling really sorry for, but let's go over to him and find out. Maybe he knows what the leopard's temperature actually is, a body temperature is.
I don't actually, Ali, to be honest with you. I'm not 100% sure, but I would hazard a guess that it would be probably somewhere around 30 degrees, somewhere there, maybe 28, 30. I don't know. It's a complete and utter guess. I have no real clue at all. I was just trying to think so. So maybe all of you can help us at home, #Safari Live, see if you can maybe give us a clue or an idea as to what you think, or what you can find out as to how hot a leopard is, or cold, depending on which one you want to look at it. But what the average body temperature is for a leopard. I would imagine somewhere around 30. I don't know. Like I say, I have no idea. I mean, it's just real guess work. I suppose it also depends on the day, really. It's a day like today versus a hot day like we had a few days ago. It would be very different. Now, Senzo, I don't know if the roof's in the way. I hope it isn't, but there is a vulture sitting in the tree over there. There we go. So you can see it just on the top of the dead tree. It is a white-backed vulture, and so these white-backed vultures actually live in this area. They spend a lot of time kind of hanging around, and it's the same ones that have the nest with the chick, which we'll go past just now and see if maybe the chick is around. But that is exactly how our vulture normally is sitting when the weather is like this. If you come here is overcast, generally you will find this white-backed vulture sitting in this dead tree, or at least one of them. Sometimes you'll find more than one, and they are amazing birds. I know they're not exactly pretty and they don't evoke much sort of love, but they really are amazing animals, and I thoroughly enjoy spending time around them, and also just kind of learning about them. There's so many interesting parts about a vulture, and without them, you know, we would have a situation where things would be very, very different out here. A lot more carcasses around, which would be a lot more disease, and things would be, you know, a very different situation. So it's really good to have vultures around, and this vulture seems as though it must have come off some sort of food. If you look on its chest area, quite sort of midway down its chest, there's a little swollen bump there, so that would be the crop, and that's where the crop has been enlarged from ingesting meat. So this has come off a carcass somewhere. Doesn't look like a massive carcass, because when they're really full, that whole area distends massively, but definitely a little bump of food inside there that it's fed on. You're probably busy digesting at the moment, which will be quite nice for that vulture. I'm sure it will be happy in weather like this to have found itself some food, because, well, rainy, cold, overcast weather is not a vulture's favorite. They prefer the sunny skies because they can get more thermals and it's easier for them to travel around. You can also imagine a bird of that size, when it rains and it gets wet, there's a lot more energy involved in having to fly if you are that big than there is if you are dry. So they'll prefer when it's drier conditions. Trish, you're wondering where they rest and raise their young. Well, resting exactly where you're seeing it now. So they often find trees, dead trees like this. The reason why they go for dead trees is because a tree with foliage on it makes it very difficult for a vulture to actually open its wings and fly, and so it's a little bit harder. In terms of nesting, they will nest a lot in various types of big trees. Whiteback vultures like a knobthorn. They also like marula trees. I've seen them in scotias, jackalberries. They don't really mind too much. Hooded vultures, a little bit more sort of, they will generally be only in big trees along riverbed areas, so they prefer jackalberries, cape ashes, nyala berries, those kind of trees. Lapid-faced and white-headed will be in a lot of knobthorns. They like knobthorns. The thorny protection for their nest is always good, so big tall knobthorns are great for both of those species. And Cape vultures are cliff nesters, so they like to nest on cliff areas, so the Drakensberg Mountains to our right would be a good place. Now, from a bird that is very drab and dry and grey, if you come to the right, Senzo, on the tree, the dead tree in front of the, so just to the right of that dead tree, there is a lilac-breasted roller that is sitting there, which is complete opposite. So there you can see it just on the right. It's perched to the exact right of the vulture. No, come across, and into the tree in the front. There we go, straight in. And up a little bit, there it is. So there's a lilac-breasted roller, which is the complete opposite of a vulture in terms of its look. That is a brightly coloured, beautiful bird. Not that we can see many colours in these overcast conditions, but it is a complete polar opposite. Fab sort of ugliness of a vulture when you've got this bird sitting next to it. And it's quite funny actually to see the two next to one another, because it's not every day that you see the both of them kind of perched in the same place. Both of them are sitting for the same reason. I suppose the vulture is more resting, but the roller is using that as a perch to be able to come down and hunt various insects. So it's a great place for watching what's going on. Gemma, you're wondering if vultures would take over other birds' nests. So yes, I have seen them take over Wahlberg's eagle nests. I've seen them take a tawny eagle nest, so various eagles they'll take over. In fact, I've even seen them repurposing a buffalo weaver nest for their own uses. So vultures most certainly do steal nests, and will take them over quite quickly. Funny enough though, that their nests also do get stolen themselves. So the hooded vulture, one of the biggest problems with hooded vultures is that their nests are often taken over by Verreaux's eagle owls and by martial eagles. So funny enough, both of those are not ideal for hooded vultures, and it's why hooded vultures' numbers have declined a little bit. One has lost habitat, two, nights are hard to find, and their nests are often taken over and raided. And interestingly, with the hooded vultures as opposed to the white-backed, is that the white-backed will build their nest normally quite high up in the tree and right on the top, where it's sort of on the periphery of the tree where they can come in and out, whereas hooded vultures, they like their nest to be in the tree, so right in the central parts of the tree where they can kind of get in and they can be quite hidden inside there, which is very different to pretty much actually all the other vultures, or most of the other vultures have their nest quite out in the open. So interesting. Right, let's go and see the nest. Since we're talking about the nest is not far away from us, so I'm going to try and find the nest quickly, and while I do that, let's send you back to Ali, because I believe our leopard is going down the tree.
Well, she is now. She unfortunately dropped her kill. So I think she's looking for it, and she's just sniffing around, and I'm sure that as soon as she manages to get it, she'll probably go up. So we're gonna sit around here, just hope for her to actually move, and then I can, yeah, okay, seems like she's got it. She's got the kill once more. And, okay, it's a little bit thick at the bottom. There we go, we can see the tail, there she goes. Where are you gonna go now? Are you going to try and climb again from where you were? Let me just... Should we try and dash in? Alright. I'll try and go around, see if maybe we'll see her wherever she might go. Just wait for us for 1 second. Lovely creature. There we go. Okay. There we go. There she is. Whoop. First attempt. Didn't really work out. Seems like the scrub hair fell on her head. And I'm sure she's going to try and do it again. Oh, are you taking defeat by the marula? I think maybe she's just looking what's her easier way up. Yeah, not ideal. I'm sure you'll be fine now. The kill is right where her mouth is, so she might try and pick it up again. I am hoping that she try and eat it down at the bottom. It would be wonderful to see her put it up again. And I think what happened is she didn't take her impulse quite the way that she should have. And then the scrub hair actually, because of the way she was grabbing it, half of her body actually flopped onto her head. And then I think that threw her a little bit of balance. And then she decided it was easier to come down. Maybe try again. It's almost like you scratch all the time. Righty, girl. We have faith in your climbing abilities. We were just complimenting you a few minutes ago. There we go. While we wait for her, Joy, you did manage to send us through the leopard's body temperature, which is 38.3 degrees Celsius, which is out. Actually, I was entirely wrong. I thought it was less than a human, and it's actually higher than a human, which is quite interesting. And thank you very much for... Here she goes. Amazing. How cool was that? Well done. Well done, girl. Now you can enjoy your meal in the safety of the tree, where probably nothing will get to you. Unless you drop it again. Lucky for her, there aren't any hyenas lurking about, so that's probably a good thing, because in the time that she, or from where she is, if she drops it, and had it been a hyena down at the bottom, I'm sure the hyena would have got it very quickly. Because it's a bit of a smaller kill in the sense that it's not as big as an impala, I'm sure it's also helped in having the skill go unnoticed. Alright, now you're hungry. You've had it easy, really, the last few days. These marulas on the side of the road have actually been really good for you. And I wonder, normally the scrub hairs during the day, they are hiding in very thick bush, and they just pretty much where they spend their time. So I think maybe she flushed it, or the little scrub hair got a bit of a fright and then ran away, and that's when she had the chance to pounce her. Now, I think that she actually not fed on this scrub hair at all. It doesn't seem like it's open. You see what she's doing now? She's trying to get rid of all the fur, to then be able to get to the skin, to then try and get the skin open. It can get a little bit gruesome of what she's about to do. So like I mentioned earlier, if you find that this is a little bit too much for you, please you don't have to look at it. You can just, like I said, go and make yourself a cup of tea and then come back in a little while. Now, for those of you that can stomach this sighting, oh my goodness, are you going to climb higher? Oh, okay. Somebody's brave. There we go. She's going to climb higher. Whoop. Probably onto this area, you feel a little more safe, don't you? There, you won't be as exposed as you were on that branch. I think now she's choosing all her different spots. I'm just going to move a little bit back Okay, now that she's moved and she's chosen the spot, now we can see her again. Beautiful. We're going to do an unscheduled broadcast to invite a lot of people to this sighting, so I'm just going to be quiet for the next few minutes while everything else is set up. Welcome everyone, all the way from the Greater Kruger National Park. We are in the Sabi Sand. We are enjoying the company of a female leopard. My name is Ali, and on camera today is VM, and we are very excited to be showing this particular event that's happening live as we speak. If you've got any comments or any questions, please feel free to send them through using the hashtag Safari Live, or just post them on the comment section below, which would probably be more appropriate. Now, we are looking at this beautiful leopardess. She made a kill earlier this morning, and what she's eating is a scrub hare. Now, if you find this, or if you feel like you cannot really stomach what we're you don't have to watch, but for those of you that like to, she just climbed the tree again after dropping her kill, and she's just started to feed off of it. There you see the scrub hare there, and she's just started to try and take all of the fur out of the scrub hare so that she can get to the skin, and then from the skin actually get to the meaty parts, which is really what she wants. Now, she was in a lower branch of the tree, but you can see it's very windy, and the branch where she was very exposed to the elements, and it does seem that we're going to have quite a big thunderstorm coming on later on. So I think that she's actually just a particular branch for safety. She probably feels a little bit more secure up there. Now, it's amazing how the kill even camouflages with the rest of the tree. It almost looks like a part of the tree. And you can see that she, I would have thought that you would have carried on eating after all the effort that it was to put it back on, but it seems like she's taking her chance, or her time, actually. Wild dog, you're wondering if this is Xidulu. Yes, this is a female that we know as Xidulu, which means termite mound, and she is a followed character around this particular area, and we are lucky to see her often as she's one of the relaxed leopards that we have in this particular part of the world. Dawn, you're wondering how old this leopard is. Well, if my calculations are not wrong, apparently 4 years old or so. So she's actually been seen mating not too long ago with the male. So we're hoping that in the near future we'll also have some of her little cubs running around. Seems like all that effort mattered. Stevie, you're wondering how far can a leopard jump from a tree? Well, she could drop from where she is now all the way down to the ground, and I'm sure she would be able to fall and not hurt herself, which is, I would say, probably about 2-3 meters. Probably be quite a drop, but I'm sure she would be fine after that. I've seen them drop perhaps from that same height. It's not ideal, but they could. Leopards always fall on their feet, as normal cats do. There we go, bringing the kill a little bit closer. I think she's trying to move as little as possible. Stevie, you're commenting that you never thought that they would pluck the hair out of the animals that they prey upon. They do often, and they will do this with all the species of antelope and scrub hares and even birds. When they catch the birds, they just take the layers out, so they would get the feathers or the hair out to then try to cut through the meat to get to the bones and internal organs and everything else. I think being up there has put her a bit on edge. Josh, you're wondering what is the biggest thing that a leopard could eat? Well, it depends on the leopard. If the leopard is, the bigger the leopard, the bigger his prey species can be. So we have a species of antelope around this area that can weigh, I'm going to say perhaps 150 to 100 kilograms, like the water bugs and the kudu, the female of this particular. And I've seen leopards, particularly big male leopards, successfully bring down these animals. Sometimes it does play a role in the fact that if the antelope is a little bit sick or weakened, then it might be easier for them. But they normally go for medium-sized antelopes or smaller creatures that range between 60 to 70 kilograms or so. I would put that as their average. We are going to carry on spending some time with her. So if you want to spend this time with us and see what else she gets up to, you're more than welcome to Google Safari Live. And I'm sure you will be able to find us as we carry on spending some time with her. Well, hello everyone once more. It was very exciting to see her go up and then jump again. Ooh, are you going to go down now? I don't know if maybe she's scouting for a better branch. It almost seems like she's not fully convinced of the one that she's in, and maybe she's looking for a branch that's a little bit thicker for her to actually be able to eat a little bit more comfortably. Now, where are you going? I don't think she's going to climb down. I mean, perhaps she'll go and choose another marula. Nope. Oh my. All right, I think she's probably just still very full and doesn't have to eat right now, so she's making us work it. Right, I think we're gonna try and maybe go around, and we're gonna go around this way. Noriko, all of the branches that she's in can handle her weight, and funny enough, I've seen leopards on branches that I'm pretty sure that they're gonna fall from, and they seem to just be able to distribute their weight in a way that obviously keeps them afloat. However, I have also seen them falling off branches of trees because they haven't calculated things right. Now I'm gonna go around. We're gonna be able to see her face from where we are, as it's not quite easy with all the different branches of the tree. While we reposition, we are gonna head back to Tristan, who has left his vultures, but I wonder what else he's after this afternoon. There.
Well, I did leave my vultures. I wanted to show everyone the nest, but the roof is in the way, so I couldn't get an angle where we could actually see the nest, which is a bit and I get rid of the roof, then maybe we can go and show you the nest. So, First Lady, wondering if they can turn their necks 360 degrees to see their prey. So, what is that? Hold on a second, First Lady, I'll get back to you now. Some sort of a nest hanging there. It looks like the remains of a weaver's nest that's kind of fallen down and from a branch there. Is it a weaver's nest? Yes, it is a weaver's nest. Now, where does that come from? Must have been from some masked weavers some time ago. There was two that were started there. Both of them are destroyed by now, but never noticed them before. Strange. Anyway, First Lady, so no, they can't turn their neck all the way 360. What they can do though is, because the eyes are on the side of the head, so they can turn like this, which will give them the field of view basically behind them, and then they turn the other way and that's a field of view. They've got pretty much 360 degree view, but it's not that they can turn their neck 360 degrees. So their neck only turns a certain amount, but their field of view that they've got is pretty much almost 360. Maybe not quite 360, maybe let's call it 345.2. I'm just kidding, but I'm pretty sure it's very close. Now, of course, I was very close when it came to the leopard body temperature. Only 10 whole degrees off. Only 10 degrees off is not far, is it? Hey, Rebecca, come on, give me being close. Of course, in 10 degrees in body temperature is the difference between being dead and alive. Exactly, Rebecca. So, you know what? I mean, I was close enough. It would have been running a risk between being dead or alive, but you know, that's how it goes. Now, of course, I was quite surprised actually. It's a lot higher than I thought it would be, but I suppose it should be about that. Most mammals should be in that area. Oh, an elephant. Hello, elephant. That will be very welcome, since we've had a bit of a dry afternoon. An elephant will be the perfect thing to have a look at. It looks like a young bull elephant. So we're just going to get into position that I can show you said young bull elephant. No, it's not a young bull elephant. There's a herd of elephants here. Yes, there we go. There's a whole bunch of them coming out. I need to look better, but look at those ominous clouds in the background as well. Don't those look a bit threatening? Seems as though we're going to have a situation where we might get a bit more rain this afternoon. But there comes our herd, just slowly emerging from the thickets. It looks like a little one and a sub-adult. And this cannot be the same grouping we saw earlier because, well, they were on a completely different side of the reserve. They were like Dumbo and flapped their ears and flew this side. But again, another small grouping. I wonder why we've got so many small groups of elephants at the moment, which seems as though it's just a female with her young ones. I wonder if it's something to do with the marula fruits. This is something I need to maybe look up and see if, when it's marula season, if the elephants actually split up a little bit more because there's a bounty of food and males are around. I wonder if smaller groups helps to be able to feed off the marulas and kind of distribute better and make sort of hay, so to speak, of all the marulas that fall before they actually go off. Interesting thing. I haven't really thought about this much, but it's now piqued my curiosity because we certainly haven't seen the big herds that we are used to. Hang on a second, is that short trunk? Is it? No, it doesn't look like it. I haven't seen her for a while, so I was hoping it was her. Now, for those of you who don't know who Short Trunk is an elephant that we have here that has a small little herd of just herself and 3 other elephants that are with her. And she's called Short Trunk because she's missing the tip of her trunk. It's unfortunately, I think, was snared off. And so if you don't know what a snare is basically a wire trap that is put out sometimes, particularly even in the Kruger Park when there's a lot of issues with bushmeat trade. And it's designed to catch things like steenbok and duiker and impalas, but elephants, being the animals that they are, often kind of sniff around, and this wire gets around their trunk and then it severs all the way through. And sometimes they get lucky, like Short Trunk, where it's quite low on the trunk, or should I say, yes, low down would be the right terminology. Or sometimes they get unlucky and it's right up towards the tusks, and that can be almost like a death sentence if their trunk gets wrapped that high up. So it's not very nice to see, but she's a very special elephant because of that, and we see her a lot, particularly in the winter months. And so I like following her around because she's very relaxed, and obviously with this disability, her surviving is pretty much a success story and a kind of example to poachers to leave our elephants alone. Now let me go forward just to confirm or deny my Lakeisha, you're wondering how long infections typically last in animals. Depends on what the wound is, the state of the animal, conditions that the animal is living in. Is it a situation where it's a drought, where they're struggling to find food, because then infections will last longer and be far more threatening? Is it a situation where you've got food that is very readily available and the animal is pretty much able to keep it nice and clean? So if we look at something like the Nkuhuma female that had a massive big gash on her hip, she was able to kind of keep it clean, and because she was in the pride, they were finding food and she was able to kind of starve off that infection. But I mean, if it's really bad and the animal's in weak condition, that infection can be life-threatening, and so it can just last the whole time. So there's no real time limit for how long an infection can take place for. It depends on a number of different factors, and it can be from a very short period through to a very long period. I mean, I've seen elephants that have big fat abscesses like this that are so full of pus that it takes half an hour, 45 minutes for vets to drain all that pus out. So you can get big ones like that would have been months old, as opposed to small ones like we saw on that little baby elephant's trunk earlier that will be probably only a few weeks, and it will come out eventually and it will be gone. So it depends on the animal and depends on what they're actually doing. Now let me just try and get a little further forward. Just want to see if we can get a nice view of these ellies. If I just get, apologize, there probably will be a pole in the way at some point now, so we're just going to try and get ourselves just here. That should be nice to be able to see them. Sends us that pole out the way. There we go. Cool. So the poles should be, oh no, they're going to walk that way, aren't they? They are indeed. Anyway, so you can see the little one is having a bit of a suckle at the moment, so when they come out it'll be nice and we'll be able to see them a little bit better. But there you can see he's drinking from the teats on the right hand side, or teat, and getting some nice nutrient rich milk. I suppose on an overcast cloudy day and rain that is now starting to fall, a bit of warm milk as opposed to cold vegetation is a better idea. I suppose it's much like us with chicken soup or a hot chocolate. Imagine that would be the same case for a little baby elephant. Now that little baby is not tiny by any stretch of the imagination. It's probably easily close to 2 years already. Charlie has sweaty temples. Well, they're not sweaty temples, so she doesn't produce sweat from there. Those are glands that she's got on the side of her face, and they are called temporal glands, and they are an indication of emotion in elephants. So you'll find they will release a fluid from there when they are happy, when they are sad, when they are stressed, when they are excited. So in this case, it might be that they're very content. There's a situation where they're leaking, the rain is coming in, it's kind of cool, and so they're finding food, and that might mean that they're quite joyful and they've had a positive interaction with one another. Could also mean that they are, like I say, a little bit kind of worried about the wind that's blowing, but it doesn't seem like it. Their reaction towards us and us approaching has been very relaxed, and so I would think it's more an indication of content and happiness more than anything else. But yes, it's a gland that does leak, and you can see it quite often. Now, if you see that in a big male elephant, then quickly look between his legs. And the reason why I'm saying you must look between his legs is because generally if you look between his legs and he's leaking like that, he'll normally have a leaking amount of urine coming out, and his inside of his legs will be black on the hind legs, and that will indicate to you that he's in must, which is a condition when an elephant gets into a heightened level of testosterone, and is an animal that you should give a slightly wider berth than normal. So instead of going closer to them like we are with these ellies, you probably just give him the space that he would want, because a musk bull can be a little bit more temperamental. Right, now the rain is starting to come in, it's starting to get darker. It's perfect time now for Tumba to come waltzing out onto the road, so we're going to keep looking for him. But while we do that, I believe Ali has a beautiful view of the leopard that she's with.
We do have a wonderful view, although it is also getting quite windy up here. I don't think the rain's going to hit us just as soon, so hopefully it'll just stay away from us for the next little while. More yawning. I think maybe this dropping of the kill and then putting it back up was a little bit too much for her, and then choosing the branches, so it's quite a tiresome affair, and, well, if you have a full belly, not ideal. But she is gazing intently just to the south from where we are, so I wonder if perhaps from her vantage point she can see something that we cannot. Would be interesting. And VM and I were just commenting, it would be quite interesting to see what happens during the night, because the lions could very well, exactly where we stand, which is maybe, what is that, like 3-4 meters from where we are to the tree, could come walking back onto Djuma if they decide to use, for example, the same path should they be after some buffalo. So maybe she's going to have another entertaining evening from up above, just watching how everything unfolds below. That would be quite funny. I think she's looking a little bit irritated now at the wind. Most animals don't really like the wind, and where she is obviously is not as sheltered by the branches, so maybe there's too much wind coming her way. But you are intently looking in that direction. We've tried to see what it is. I don't know if maybe she can see impala in the distance, perhaps elephants even. Not too sure. But you see how she's quickly like turning and moving around. So she definitely can hear something or see something that we're not aware of. Alright, but I think you've got a very good spot up there, so nothing will be you without you knowing. And even if a lion were to come around and climb the tree, I think she would be way too quick, either to go all the way up to the top of the tree or just to drop and run away from any potential tree climber that she might find. Although it seems like she's actually got herself almost like really nicely nestled in there. She's got her bum against the tree, and then she's got her paw on the nub of the tree. I think it's a very good bed. I think she's sorted in there. Yeah, I think she's happy with her spot. It's amazing how they manage to get themselves into these positions on the trees and then just find the most odd positions, but that just seem to work for them. And that's another thing that I will never understand. It's how cats, or why cats actually love sleeping with almost like their head just way below the rest of their body. It almost seems like they're going to come crashing down, but they don't. Like to fall head first. Pretty, pretty, pretty. I'm curious as to what you can see. I do hear more cars in the distance, so I wonder if perhaps that's what's got her attention. But they are normally so habituated to the vehicles that I doubt that she would be all that interested in us. Alrighty. Are you going to carry on? You've had a very, very easy few days, even with all the rains. She's been one of the lucky ones. Right, I think that Tristan's going to have the last few views of the Ellies before we have to switch to IR. So let's go over to him and hopefully get a little bit of sunlight.
well, hopefully we'll get a bit of sunlight. I don't see it. It looks very overcast and very cloudy all around us. Looks like a bit of rain is actually on its way. There you can see the ellies are still together, and a nice little family grouping. I'm actually thoroughly enjoying spending some time with ellies this afternoon. It's, I don't often spend massive amounts of time lately because we had a kind of elephant drought for a while, and then lately it's been TV shows and all these kind of things, and it's been a little bit difficult to spend vast quantities of time with groups of elephants. And so I'm really looking forward to the next couple of months, hopefully seeing a lot more groups of big sort of herds of elephants coming back and hanging in amongst them and sitting and enjoying their company. It's a wonderful thing to do, and it's a great way to just appreciate nature at its fullest. And I say that because when you're in a group of elephants, there's just some sort of feeling that you get when they're kind of all around you and they're feeding. It's peaceful in a way, but it's also a bit you get a bit awestruck in the fact that you're around these massive animals that are, one, so intelligent, and two, just absolutely. And so it's intimidating in a way, and it makes you feel quite small when you're sitting amongst them and then just listening to their sounds and them going about their business. In fact, we might as well listen to them right now because they're making quite a bit of noise feeding. So when we're walking around out here, this is what you would listen for elephants. It's one of the best ways to actually to find them, is to try and listen for their feeding behavior. You can hear there's lots of branches that kind of clatter together, that scrape. It just seems as though they kind of, they make a lot more of a noise than a lot of other animals, and it's a nice thing to actually just hear them sometimes, or just to sit quietly and enjoy the sound of them. Now I hear Ali is trying to call me. I wonder if maybe the Nkuhuma pride is not up and moving on the Simambili side. There we go. So how's that for intuition? Because apparently it sounds like the lions are heading north and heading onto our side, so I'm going to try and get up there and try and get that side. I don't know, this is a good question, and I actually, to be honest with you, don't know the answer, but I'm going to just relay the question so some of you can maybe, if you know, or help us, or maybe it's just a nice discussion to have. But Eleanor wants to know if gland seepage that we see from these ellies, if it smells differently depending on the mood that they're in. So if they're angry, does it smell differently to when they're happy? I don't know. I suppose there must be some sort of chemical difference that indicates to the rest of the herd what's going on, because we know elephants are incredibly sort of intuitive animals, and they're able to pick things up very quickly. And so I would hazard a guess that yes, there must be chemical change that an elephant can pick up. I don't know, maybe it is exact same smell, and then it's through communication that they tell each other what they're actually feeling. I'm not sure. I mean, they obviously have a very advanced communication in terms of the sounds that they make, and that will be coupled with that secretion. And so I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting one. I think there's so much of nature that we don't quite understand, and every day new strides are being made into understanding, the changes and the way that animals actually interact with one another. I think it's difficult for us to probably know everything yet, and we probably will never know everything. The complexities of what goes on out here is that it really is tough to kind of pick up exactly how things work, and whether or not an elephant's mood dictates the smell that it's giving off. I suppose there must be something in it, and I'm sure one day we'll be able to analyze these things, but who knows? Like I say, I don't know, and I would imagine that there must be change, but I'm not 100% sure. Now, the reason why I'm driving a lot quicker than what I was the whole drive is because Ali's telling me that the lions sound like they are coming on to Djuma, and so if they do come to Djuma, it's going to sighting because they're going to cross Sydney's dam and we're not going to get much of it, so I'm trying to get there as quickly as possible. It's obviously going to mean that I'm going to have to drive a little bit on the far side, which means hopefully I'm not going to bounce this roof out of its sockets and not kill Senzo and myself in the process. But while I try to send you back to Ali with Xidulu, who seems completely unfazed at the fact that the lions are not too far away from where she is.
Well, she is definitely unfazed about the lions. There are no lions around us. They are not too far. They're coming not too far from where we are, but hopefully they'll go their way. Oh, hello. And they'll go their way, and she'll stay her own way. And Tristan actually will be able to keep his roof on. We don't really want him to lose a roof. That wouldn't be ideal. Now, if you're wondering strange coloration, we are using an infrared light and our infrared technology just to be able to follow the animals at night. Now, what did you hear? You are walking with a lot of intent and you were facing in this same direction, and you are definitely up to something, and I wonder what it is. And I really hope that by the end of today you manage to get rid of that tick that is clearly annoying you. It's been annoying you the whole day. Now see how she's walking? She is actually moving around, very steadily into a certain direction, and she's a little bit wary. You see how she's listening intently into something. What is there around here that you're looking at? Now she's right in front of our vehicle, so I'm not going to move. But we are going to try and follow her and see what it is that she's investigating. I wonder if perhaps there isn't another female leopard around. See how she is, or perhaps she spotted another potential prey. She's doing a proper leopard walk right now. Being very still. I have no idea what she can see, but she's treading very carefully, trying not to make a sound. Welcome everyone. We are whispering at the moment because we are in the presence of a leopardess that seems to be hunting. She climbed down from where she had a kill stashed in a tree, and now she's walking very carefully. If you're wondering about the coloration we're looking at, or that's coming through your screen, that's because we are using infrared light that will not whatsoever on what we're seeing unfold. Now, my name is Ali, and on camera with me is BM, and if you want to send any comments or questions, you can do so by using the comment question on the platform that you're viewing us on. Now, it is quite a windy afternoon. There's a lot of breeze, and it seems like we're going to get rained upon, and she is steadily walking in that direction. Now, like we said, she was gazing in that general. I think I saw another scrub hare running around here, and funny enough, what she stashed up on the tree was a scrub hare already. So I don't really want to move right now. I don't want to go around and see what she's eating and what she's looking at until she decides where to go, because we obviously don't want to spoil this situation either for the predator or for the potential prey species. She was walking very stalking whatever it is, walking very carefully, treading lightly. I think whatever it is that she saw perhaps has moved away from where she is right now. It doesn't seem like she's as intent as what she was a few moments ago. Now, there's the definite possibility that she was hunting Trish. I think that she definitely spotted something amongst those thickets that she's watching. Definitely something in there. What? I'm not too sure. We've been trying to figure it out, but very hard to see. Becca, you're wondering how many times a day do leopards eat? Well, if they've got a very good meal, they can just eat it throughout the day. But if not, then if they have a very big kill, then they don't have to eat more than once a day. Hello, beautiful leopard. I think perhaps the hunting is not as intense as it was a few moments ago. I think whatever it is that she was looking at has managed to sneak away from her. She is still very much alert. You can see by the way that she's pointing her ears, and she hasn't moved. She's still looking in that direction. So whatever that was in there, I'm sure she hopes will be back in there. You see her eyes or her ears are constantly twitching. We're going to carry on with this leopard, see what else she gets up to, and if she does indeed manage to make a kill. So if you want to carry on watching with us, Google Safari Live and you'll be able to see us there. Alright, thank you everyone for allowing me to be quiet. And I think it's also a very good sense of what's going on here. Everything we can hear is the wind. And she's not moving, she's not making any. And I'm pretty sure I saw another scrub hare just coming around the bushes. But I'm not too sure this scrub hare has actually seen her. And for her to have actually seen a scrub hare all the way from the marula where she was in, it's just proof of how incredible their eyesight is. I don't think she's given up just yet. There's probably something hiding around there. And as I was mentioning earlier on, scrub hares do spend their time in very thick bush. And roughly at this time, they start coming out and start moving around. They don't live in burrows like, for example, bunnies do. And they have more nocturnal habits than what perhaps a normal bunny would do. She's not giving up. There is still something there that's catching her eye. Perhaps she's just trying to find it again. Perhaps it's moved a little bit. See, this goes to show that they are extremely opportunistic animals. She had a kill. She came down. She killed a scrub hare. Now she's got a scrub hare kill on the marula been in, and then she still saw the opportunity to catch something, and then she came down and tried to pursue that opportunity. I think this girl means business. Right. I think maybe if you're starting to groom, it might be that, you've decided that the scrub hare was the one that got away. Yep. Okay. Well, that was a very, thrilling moment. So thank you for trying to hunt for us. I wonder if you're going to go back to the tree now. Incredible. Really, really incredible that she managed to see that all the way from the tree. Seems like Tristan has managed to find the spot where the lions are going to cross, so who knows, we'll get lucky. So let's go over to him and perhaps see the lions as well.
Well, we hope that this is where they'll be crossing. Whether or not they will is anyone's guess at the moment. I believe that the cars are still stationary. They were coming slowly this way, but then they've seemed to have sat down a little bit. Strictly straight down the fire break, so they're still inside Somomili and they're coming this way, hopefully. I don't know, we'll see how it goes, but they're pretty much straight down there. The problem is we're losing lights quite quickly now, which means that we're going to have a situation where we're going to struggle to kind of see with the camera. But just around that bend apparently is where they are. Rexon says, who's parked next to me on the right, he says he can see the lights just around that corner, and so that's where they theoretically should be coming from and where they should hopefully be able to be seen. It's really tough. I mean, the infrared is never going to be able to reach that far, so I don't think we're going to be able to see them just yet. Hopefully they've got to get up and kind of come this way. The conditions and the weather and the darkness that's ensuing is actually a really good thing, because hopefully it's going to mean that these lions are going to get up. So what I'm going to do quickly is just try and reposition ourselves a little bit and just see if maybe, just maybe, with the power of the camera, that we can be able to actually see what's going on. So I'm just going to try reverse here. You can see Rexon is parked just in front of me at the moment, so maybe with a little kind of maneuver and with the camera's power we can actually be able to see what's going on. But I can see their lights. The lights are still quite far away, so let's just go forward a little bit and maybe I can show you where the lights are. So this is the sort of entrance to the Sabi Sands. Ooh, difficult to show you, but I can see if you shine straight through Sands, you'll be able to see where the lights are. So they're still very far. Whether or not we're going to see these lions, I'm not quite sure. It looks like they are coming in our direction. There you can see all the lights and actually maybe even see some lions. I don't know. Let's have a look. If we look carefully at lights, we might be able to see the lions kind of moving around there. It really is very far away. So right, now I'm going to sit here and hope that they come this way. I mean, like I say, we can see the lights, they are moving. Let's see if they come into our direction. And while we sit and wait, let's send you back across to Ali. Oh, there's a lion walking there. And send you back across to Ali with the leopard and the hare.
Right, so she's now decided that at least one scrub is enough, and she's carried on plucking the hair and tried to eat it. At one point, she was carrying it around as well, and it seemed like she was going to jump onto another branch. I think this wind, she's not liking it all that much, but she knows that where she is probably the safest spot. Perhaps she might even later on try to move into a tree that's a little bit thicker, so more leaves, more foliage on the top, and where she would be a little bit more protected from the rain. But for now, I think she is finally digging into her scrub, just trying to pull all the hair out. And then once she's done with that, then I'm sure she will finally be able to have a bite. She's been quite an indecisive leopard this afternoon, and I can't believe that she went down for another scrub hair even though she had one all the way up there. I would imagine that that's what leopards feel like when they have multiple baby impala kills up a tree. They're like, oh, I've got this one. Oh, but I can also have that one. I just want them all. Now, I think we're just gonna wait and sit still where we are, as she might either again drop the kill, but there will be absolutely no view for us if we go around the tree because of the amount of branches that there are on the other side. So I think we've got the best seat in the house for the time being, so let's just give her a bit of a chance to perhaps turn her head around this side. We can see that she's definitely still busy with it. Not the biggest kill. I would be surprised if she's actually here tomorrow. But it would be a good spot to start looking for her. At least we know where she is and where to start looking, which is normally the hardest thing with leopards. You can almost have an idea and then try and take it from there. But it doesn't always work. Yep, she's still plucking the hair, still tugging at it. I think you've chosen quite a nice marula. Well done. Now, it seems like we are going to get a huge thunderstorm today. We have a lot of lightning around. I don't think she's either going to stay there for too long. You see all the dark cloud cover at the back? Well, it's predicted that we're going to have rain or at least overcast weather conditions for the next week. So, it's going to be an interesting time, but I think that leopards will be very well fed. Seems like the lions, though, they haven't been as lucky as they've been trailing this herd of buffalo, but they haven't come right just yet. Well, rosettes. Look at the wind. Look how it's howling on the branches behind her. All the leaves going crazy. It's actually very brave of you to be up there. I would be afraid of the wind knocking me down, which I'm sure happens every now and again. It is super windy indeed. I think I can even hear some elephants in the distance. I wonder if perhaps she could also see them from where she is. Definitely something that got her attention. Nope, carried on eating. I think maybe what she's trying to do now, she realized what's coming her way, so she might try to eat as much as she can, as quickly as she can, just in case she's got to abandon the skill, I would assume. There we go. Now she's definitely plucked the hair, and this side motion that she's doing is she's trying to cut through the skin. So the teeth of the carnivores are arranged in a way that it allows them almost to work as a pair of scissors. So she's using her side teeth to try and, well, she's putting her head sideways to try and cut through the skin to then be able to get to everything that's underneath the skin. But in order for her to be able to do so, first she's got to pluck all the hair out. But I think now she's getting to the meat part, which is really what she's after. Yeah, there we go. Must be tough try to maneuver such a small prey species with their mouth. I'm sure it requires a lot of patience on her side too. Right, maybe a little bit more hair there. Right. Let's head back to Tristan and see if the lions would like to be on the show today or not. I certainly hope so.
I am not sure if they're going to make an appearance. I've just spoken to one of the guides that works on the western side here, and they just told me that yes, they're coming, but they are coming at snail's pace. A phrase. You can see that there's a bit of light in the distance there, and you can actually see where the cars are going, but they really are still quite far away, unfortunately. That's the car actually going towards where the lions are, so they are still a little bit far away, and I don't think we're going to see them tonight, unfortunately. I think it's going to be a situation where they are going to settle in that area. It's still a long way from where we are. We had a brief view of those lions just now, but there you see that's where they are. In fact, there's a lion. Is there a lion? Is that a lion? No, that's a car. No, there's a lion. Look, there's a lion in oh, woohoo. So we saw a lion far away, and now it is the entire Nkuhuma pride, and they are moving towards us, and it almost looks like a thermal image because of the lights that are being shone on them. But that is the Nkuhuma pride, and there are 3 Birminghams with them. So I think it's Nsuku, Nena, I'm not sure who the third one is, but they are slowly coming this way. I think if we wait maybe 10 more minutes, we'll probably get a view of them. I think. Let's just see. If they lie down there, then we've got no chance, but they look like they are coming straight towards us. So if we patient for 10 minutes, we maybe, just maybe, might get lucky and be able to actually see these guys. They are heading in our direction. You can see the lioness striding out, and I know the visual is not great given that it is as far, and our lights really aren't reaching there. It's the lights of the other vehicles that are allowing us to actually see those lions at the moment. So they are starting to come slowly but surely, and they seem to be striding it out. It would be nice just to get a really good glimpse of them. So Bex, if you don't mind, can we extend a little bit so that we can just see these lions come out? It's been so long since we've had the whole Nkuhuma pride on Djuma that it would be really nice to be able to just see them, and for all of you to see them. I know that a lot of you miss the lions from the South African side, and has obviously provided a lot of lions over the last few months, but here at Djuma we've seen very little of the Nkuhuma pride, and it would just be nice to see a sighting of them kind of coming out and going in. Now I do apologize about the vehicle. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it from where we are. We're just going to have to be patient and wait for them, but they are, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes away from crossing onto our side, so we're just going to have a little patience and a little perseverance, and hopefully we'll get to show you some of the Nkuhuma pride and the Birmingham males who hopefully are going to come this way. Now, while we sit with these guys and wait for them to come across, let's send you back across to Ali and our leopard, who's thrown about, I believe, by the strong wind we've got this evening.
Wonderful. I'm very happy that the lions have carried on coming steadily, because then we will get the 2 cats for the morning. And you know, she sort of escaped from us in the morning the second time around, and then the lions definitely crossed. So I'm very happy to know that in the afternoon we have a real possibility of actually seeing them again. Now, I think that Xidulu means business. She has now started devouring her kill, and she's been eating very, very quickly, and now she's using, as you see now, we've seen almost like the 3 phases of the feeding. She's using her very thick and rough tongue to try and get the meat off of the bone. So that's why she's licking it like that. And you see there's a little bit more hair there that she's trying. Oh, no, that was not hair. Sorry about that. That she actually wants to chew. I don't think that she's going to stay off this tree for too much longer. I think she's just going to finish this kill as quickly as she can, and then she might just come down and choose a spot either to carry on hunting. As we saw, she's already more than capable of, even if she's had a very good meal. And I am sorry about this. This is a little bit gruesome, so I apologize for that. But like I said, I think she's gonna come down, and either she's gonna try and hunt that scrub here again, or she's gonna go somewhere else. Oh, I am terribly sorry. It's almost like eating pasta. Alrighty, and then in that wonderful note, we're going to leave her to her dinner. But thank you everyone for waiting with us the whole afternoon for her to go up. I think the views of her and the marula were definitely worth it, and I will be saying goodbye to you guys and Xidulu, and I'm sure Tristan will keep you guys entertained, hopefully with some lions.
Indeed we will, because there is the pride slowly but surely now appearing, and we can actually see them quite clearly now starting to come out. Some of them are sitting down, but as long as the females are moving, so we should get a situation where they keep coming. Please don't stop there. There comes one of the Birmingham boys coming past. Now I am going to off because there is another vehicle that's going to drive between us and I don't want to blind them. You're welcome to go, guys. Thank you. So there you go. There's just some people that are going past to have a little look, and they're going to sit and enjoy them also coming towards us. It's going to be quite a busy sighting, I'm pretty sure, because as they cross a boundary, generally everybody wants to try and come and see them. So it's a situation where we're probably going to have to deal with a few vehicles in the way for a while, but they are going to come our way. I'll try and kind of light them up as they do come, because otherwise our infrared is not going to be strong enough to go all the way there, unfortunately. So it's a situation. I think they've laid down most of them, unfortunately, so we will red now, but it looks like most of them are lying down. Yes, there they are. So I can't tell you which Birmingham it is for now. I just can tell you that there is a Birmingham there. Now the car is going to come back, so we're not going to be able to see too much. Hopefully they're going to pull forward and not block our view. Maybe not. So hopefully, like I say, they do come our way and we'll be able to actually see them, because for now we're being blocked completely. There we go. Now they've pulled off nicely so we can actually see them. Now Vicky wants to know if there's any smaller. Yes, Vicky, there's one small cub in this pride. So that cub is now, I don't even know, how old is it now? 5 months. It's been so long since I've seen the Nkuhuma pride, I can't even remember the age of that one cub. But the sub-adults that you see there, there's 6 of them. So they are almost, they will be going on to now almost 3 years old, which is getting old, I suppose. It's 3 years or 2 years? Just got to remember now, 2016, so 2016 they were born, 2017, yeah, so they'll be 2 years old, if I'm correctly, maybe 3 years, I'm not sure. Time flies and kind of forgotten a little bit. There's the little cub actually in amongst all of them that's walking around over there, so that's about 5-6 months old. But I'm just trying to remember when these cubs were born. It must have been in 2016, yes, so 2017 and then 2018, so they'll be almost 2 years old. Yes, July 2016 is right, Rebecca. They were in July. I just couldn't remember if it was 2015 or 2016, but it's definitely about almost 2 years for the sub-adults. And then there's 5 adult lionesses in this pride, and there are 3 accompanying them at the moment. Now the Birmingham boy that's there looks like it could be Nena. I think Nena's the one with the wound on the top right of his head when Ali saw them the other day. It could also be either Nena or Nsuku is the one with the wound on the top. Maybe some of you can just remind me, because I wasn't in that sighting and haven't seen the Birminghams for ages, so I don't actually know who is who at the moment. But I'm hoping that they're going to turn and start coming our way. It looks like Nena to me. Looks like him. Anyway, we'll see. But there we go. They're starting to come now, so they are going to come our way, and hopefully we're going to get an amazing walk by of all these lions just heading straight towards us and kind of coming past the car. Yvette, you're wondering if they're on the hunt. Well, if you look at them, Yvette, they do have rather skinny stomachs, so even though they seem like they might have eaten something small, they definitely will be on the hunt in conditions like this. It is overcast, it is stormy, it is dark, it is windy, and that is perfect conditions for the Nkuhuma pride to go about their business. We also know that there was a buffalo herd not too far from here. Well, in fact, it was right here last night, and so that means that we might have a situation where these lions are going to trail that buffalo herd tonight, and so where they're going to kind of go looking for food. The problem is the buffalo herd is off Djuma at the moment, and we are right on the northern boundary. So basically what's going to happen with these lions, and I apologize about them being highlighted like that, it's because of the spotlight that's being used by the other guides, and we don't really have too much control over that at the moment. And when they kind of go past, there we go, and we'll start to lose it. But isn't it quite creepy with those eyes kind of appearing in the darkness? If you had to turn off the lights completely, there would just be these eyes glowing back towards us. But they are looking for buffalo for sure. They are looking to try and find to eat. And so Rebecca, you say this is very scary, just seeing these glowing eyes peering out of the dark walking towards us. And like I say, imagine if all the lights were off and it was just white dots coming through and those manes, and it would be very scary. Imagine being back in the day when there was just no cars or anything like that, and you kind of had campfire lights and used to see this coming towards you. It would have been quite terrifying. You can see there's a bit of games. The cubs are not in serious hunting mode. The females are, but cubs are not. How cool is this? It's so good to see the Nkuhuma pride again. It's been such a long time since we've seen them, and I know I love leopards, but there's something about lions, kind of the darkness of the night, that is just
quite special. So very cool to be able to see them, and particularly when they're accompanied by so many of the Birminghams. 3 Birminghams, 5 lionesses, 6 sub-adults, and a little cub is a serious pride. It's not a small pride. And I wonder if these guys are not going to catch the scent of this leopard and head towards where she is. But these 2 females certainly look like they mean business. Now, I apologize about the poll. Unfortunately, nothing we can do about it. We have to have our rain roofs on in conditions like we've got at the moment. But how cool is this? Can you hear them walking? Actually hear their footsteps as they come past. And there come all the boys. Now I believe you can't really hear their footsteps too much, but it's kind of scuffling of sand as they come past. So that's Nena by the looks of things in front, and then it looks like Nsuku maybe behind him at the moment. I'll have to double check as they kind of definitely looks like Nena coming past first. Oh boy, he's a magnificent lion. Or is this Tinyo that's coming? Might be Tinyo. She's just stopping and investigating. Definitely sporting a few new scars, these boys, that's for sure. They've had a go with something somewhere along the line. Also, the bellies don't look too empty, so they must have had some food. Now, I only see 2 Birminghams. I don't see the 3rd one yet. Maybe he's crossing somewhere close by, behind all the others. There he comes. He's down. So he's a little bit further down the road than where these guys are. He's going to be crossing south of these guys and going over into a different area. But I'm sure he'll catch up with them and we'll kind of join together. But how cool is this, just to have them filing past us one by one? So he should come out there to the left of these lions. I think he probably is already over the road by now. There they go. How cool is that? Here's the little Galago sign in the background, just so you know that we're at Djuma, and then the tiniest of them all coming out at the back. Hello, little one. We'll tell her Galago is that way. Little one, can you read yet? Have you gone to school? No, not sure. Right, let's turn around and try and carry on following them as they kind of go deeper into Djuma and see what they get up to. If they're going to just cross north and go into towards sort of Sydney's dam side, or if they're actually going to continue on Djuma itself. So we're going to try and just see. It's quite something actually just seeing them all kind of lined up the way that they are at the moment, because they've got a situation where they just kind of sitting in the road watching what's going on, and there's a car behind me, so I don't want to be that person that blocks their view, so I'm going to just park so that they can still see as well. But there we go, there's the whole pride kind of out in the open, and the reason why they're all stopping and looking is because we're right next to where one of our anti-poaching units is, and the dogs for the anti-poaching units are right here, and they're busy barking at the lions. So if you hear a bark, it is a normal dog, but it's our anti-poaching dogs. They stay at the gate here, and they are deployed if there are poachers around, so you will hear dogs bark from time to time. But how cool is this? Where's the 3rd? He was on the right, and he hasn't joined just yet. He's still kind of shadowing these guys at this stage. You can see these lions are a bit kind of like, what's going on? What is this dog that is barking at the moment? And why is there a dog barking? Well, it's part and parcel. I'm sure they've heard it many times. The Nkuhuma uses this road every single time they cross to Simambili. It's pretty much in this area. So that looks like Tinyo that's closest to us as well at the moment. So it must be Nsuku, Nena, and Tinyo that is here. And Mfumo seems to have adopted a different pride. He seems to have gone all the way down into Mala Mala with the Kumbula pride at the moment. Been with them regularly and hasn't really been back up in this area for quite some time. I'm sure he will come back up at some point, but for now he's in a situation where he's enjoying the fruits of a new pride down in Mala Mala, which means that's the 4th pride that the Birminghams have now taken over. So we've got the Nkuhuma pride that they're with now, and then you've got the Kumbula pride on Mala Mala, the Styx pride, and the Torchwood pride. So very successful. And I believe so far, I was reading an article the other day that the Birminghams, I think, have raised something like 37 cubs or 39 cubs. Michael, who's a regular viewer, you did a whole report on it, and I did read it, but I must be honest, my memory is not as good as it should be, and I've forgotten exactly how many of the cubs it was. I know it's in the high 30s, and it's apparently about almost 70% success rate so far that the Birminghams have had. So it gives you an idea of just how good they've been as dominant male lions for the area, and hopefully they'll continue to reign. So far, so good. No real signs of any other lions coming in and causing any problems. Here comes the last male on the right hand side, but there we go. So there's Nsuku just coming past now. So Nena, Tinyo and Nsuku all together confirmed, which is very cool to see. Not every day we see the 3 Birminghams and the Nkuhuma Pride all together. Right guys, but we have extended quite some time, so we're going to finish up the main show. I'm probably going to stay with them for a little longer, just see if maybe they're going to hunt. We might do an action broadcast if they do begin to hunt. That's a no entry, don't go that way, you need to turn the other way. And so we'll stay with them for a little bit, so if you do subscribe to us, then you will know the broadcast will come up at some point if they do start hunting. But from Rebecca, myself, and Ali and James and the Mara, it's been an absolute pleasure. I hope that you've had a wonderful afternoon with us. It seems as though there's been a little bit of something for everybody, which is always quite nice. And so I hope you've enjoyed the leopard and the lions and everything else that's been around. Like I said, I do apologize about those bright lights as the 2 Birminghams move off into the darkness. We bid you adieu, and we will hopefully see you all tomorrow morning on our sunrise safari.